Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Testing.
Hey Mel, I can hear you.
Good. Good morning. Good morning, Katie. I see you in the chat. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yeah, all good.
All right. We'll give everybody a few minutes as they're joining. Can't hear everybody or our presenter just yet. I think you might need to unmute your microphone. Uh-oh. Jenna, our presenter is not able to unmute her microphone. It should be in the lower left-hand corner where you can click the unmute button. Yep. All right, we're going to get started in just a couple of minutes here. We do have a guest presenter who is going to join the call to present. So everybody just bear with us while we are working on that. I want to say good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everybody who's joining the call. Welcome to our Adobe Experience Manager user group. This is the Digital Asset Management, or DAM, Global User Group. Today we're going to go over some of the latest features that everybody was talking about on our last kickoff call. So we wanted to review some new features and new releases that are in AEM. So today's call is going to focus on the Adobe Experience Hub and the AI Assistant as far as the overview. So while our guest speaker is working on unmuting the phone, I'm going to go ahead and get started by going through introducing ourselves. David?
Sure. Thanks, Mel. So yeah, good to see, I think, some of the names that were on the last session, but we'll do a quick intro again. So nice to meet you all. I'm David. I have been in and around DAM for about 18 years now within IPG and its agencies, and we implemented our AEM around 12 months ago. So really now into that ongoing governance, specifically in the production space, that a well used and adopted DAM requires. So personally, for myself, excited to see some of the new features today as well as an end user. But yeah, it's good to see lots of the names, similar names to last time.
Very cool. And I'm also seeing a lot of names that I recognize. Hi, I'm Melanie Bartlett. I also go by Mel. I'm at MRM. I am a partner development director at MRM, and I am also a two-time Adobe Experience Manager champion. I've been primarily working in AEM assets for many, many years. So really enjoy this and very glad to be doing this user group where we can go over a lot of the items with you guys today. As we said during our kickoff call, new releases and new features was an important topic, so that is what we're going to work on today. Little bit of housekeeping.
Sure, I can cover these ones off, and I'll make them last as long as we can whilst we're getting our presenter connected. But same as always, just to call out that, you know, as part of the code of conduct, we all accepted that these sessions can be recorded. So if anyone's got any issues with being on the live recording, by all means, drop from the call and you can watch it back, or send Mel a request and she can send you the link after the session. Similarly, bit about the actual rules. Next slide, Mel. So, you know, the house rules generally same as all of these user groups. So no self-promotion. Please don't contact anyone outside of these user groups without their prior consent. And, you know, also anything that's shared within this, not so relevant for today because it's all about new product information, but in future sessions, any use cases shared, please don't share them without the consent of the presenter. We have, just to let you know, of some other events coming up as well. There's lots even between now and the end of the year. There's several sessions from different regions. So we've got, obviously today we're focusing very much on AEM assets. We've got a couple that are on AEM in general, so in the DAC region and Midwest. Personally excited to join this session on the 3rd of December about the new AEM assets landing page. And then a more local to myself session around CDNs towards the end of the year. So yeah, several other ones coming up that you can join. You're not restricted to just being in part of one user group. So feel free to join as many as you can.
And I'm going to pause here so everybody has an opportunity if you do want to scan the QR code to see some of the other user groups and things that are available out there. So, all right. So you also have the opportunity to share your experience. So this is through the Gartner Peer Insights. So you can influence how Adobe is positioned in some of the Magic Quadrant or as the voice of the customer documents. So you do, as a customer, are able to receive a $25 gift card as a thank you if your review is published, and one per category is optional. The survey does take about 10 minutes to complete, and the deadline is December 1st. So I'm going to pause here for if anybody needs to scan any of the QR codes. They have one available for Adobe Experience Manager Assets, Adobe Experience Manager Sites, or as part of Content Supply Chain, the Adobe Gen Studio as well. All right. The other thing too is definitely stay connected with us. So we are the Adobe Experience Manager Digital Asset Management Global User Group Chapter. There are some additional other chapters that you can sign up to via Bevy as well. So you would go to aem-augs.adobe.com, and that will allow you to get to where all of the user groups are located, and you can join a chapter just like ours, as well as join some of the other chapters here. So I do see a note in the chat. We will provide some of those URLs directly so you don't have to scan the QR code. The downfall we have is our guest speaker is not able to see a share button. So I need to take a look at this and see if we can figure out how to get this going. Bear with me. I'm going to take a quick look at the settings and see if there's anything in here that I need to uncheck. But the dashboard. And as always, this worked during our test meeting, but doesn't seem to be working now.
So Melody, what I'm trying to figure out is how to share my screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it should be a button down in the bottom right-hand corner next to where, oh, you were able to unmute. Is there a button on that same toolbar that says share? Or maybe let me hit stop sharing.
There's an
Uh-oh.
Yeah, my share button now came active, so I think now you stop sharing. Hopefully, that should be fine.
Hopefully she's able to, yeah. But it looks like she's froze. And what kind of online meeting would be successful if you didn't have a couple of hiccups as you go through? So, oh no. And I lost our speaker. I do apologize, everybody. We'll give her just a second to come back. The reason we chose this particular session is this is during our kickoff call, learning about some of the new releases and the advances was one of the important topics that everybody wanted to review. So that was our hope for today. Oh, she's back. Do you have a share button now?
back.
Come on, drum
Yes,
roll.
I do.
Yay! All right.
All right.
And we can see, oh, wow, we see a lot of screens. There we go.
I know. Okay.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate everybody as we get through the hiccup. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. Thank you.
Sorry for all of that, the glitches, but here we are. My name is Shankari. I'm a PM for AEM, And most recently, at the end of August, we launched Experience Hub as well as the AI assistant within the AEM ecosystem. My goal today is to share some really exciting updates around this. Hopefully, most of you are already not just aware of it, but already using this. But I also want to share some of the more exciting things that are coming up really soon. So let's get right into it. What is Experience Hub? It is the intelligent, unified, and single starting point for all of our AEM personas, regardless of whether you're an admin or a developer or a marketer, practitioner, right? And within Experience Hub, and I'm not going to spend that much time on the slide per se. I'm going to take you straight to and show you the demo. But hopefully, most of you on this call have been using Experience Hub, and at the towards the end of once I'm done with demos and stuff, I'd love to hear from you on, have you been using it? If yes, what's working for you? And if not, why not? I would really want to hear that. So in Experience Hub, the main features, right, that drive value, and we are starting off by solving for what we call the wayfinding problem to accelerate discoverability of features, to accelerate and make efficient how quickly you get to your destination, the job that you want to be done. How are we doing this? We have quick actions, which are buttons that are right at the top based on your persona, on your objectives. We have recents, which based on what you last did, it'll surface so you can pick up where you left off. And we have a unified left AEM navigation, customization of the widgets that you see on this page, and a lot more. In terms of AI, the AI assistant for AEM is available as the front-facing feature of this Experience Hub, and we're going to get into that. The capabilities of the assistant that's available today is product knowledge, so you can ask any questions around AEM that you may have, and it is going to be super grounded. It will not hallucinate because it's going to get it straight from Experience Lead, which is content that our experts have created. There's also the capability, if you are a support admin, you can look for questions and answers, and then you can tell the assistant, hey, I want you to create a support ticket for me, and so it'll take the context of your conversation and submit it for you. You can come back and say, what's the status of my ticket? Or can you look up this ticket for me? And it will do management of those tickets for you as well. So which is pretty amazing. So coming soon, and this is the exciting part, we are getting ready to launch. Of course, we'll start with a limited availability in terms of access. Our 5 practitioner-facing agents that'll span generation, governance, optimization, and experience development for developers. And I'm going to give you a sneak peek into what some of those are going to look like. So I'm super excited. In terms of these practitioner agents that you're going to start hearing about soon, is the production agent, where if you are an AEM content author or creator, you can just engage with the agent and say, edit this page for me, publish this page for me. Here's something that I want you to do for me, and it will produce those pages for you, and we can look at that. Discovery agent is where you can say, I want you to find these assets for me. I want you to find an asset that matches these criteria, and so on. So it'll quickly search and surface those for you. Optimization agent. This is once you've discovered those assets that you may be looking for, you can say, give me a rendition that is suitable for Instagram or this channel or this media. I want it in this size and things like that. So it'll do that for you. It'll give you renditions. Governance agent. Make sure that your content and your assets are on point in terms of the brand and complying against that. So that's another one. And then finally, if you're a developer, and I'm going to show you an example and demo of this. All of you, if you're a developer out there, are familiar with using Cloud Manager pipelines to deploy your code. Now you can use this agent to to say, I have, for example, a failed pipeline. I want you to troubleshoot it for me. So super exciting. All of these things meant to really accelerate your journey in AEM. With that, this is Experience Hub, but again, personalized to suit and work for you, quick access, reducing your time to task and accelerating your journey with an AEM. But let's not just look at screens. I want to show you what the demo looks like. So let's get right into it. I know that I had disconnected, so if I have to re-log in, that may happen, but this is Experience Hub. Like I said, you're going to have this unified AEM left navigation. What does that mean? It means that you don't have to make selections. This Experience Hub knows who you are, and it knows what licenses you have in this organization that you're logged into. And based on that, it will show you what you need to see, right? It taking away the cognitive load of you understanding and trying to figure out where to go. So in this experience, I have in my organization, I have licenses for sites, and I have assets, and I have experience fragments and universal editor, and so on. Right here is the context. It will give me the context of the most recent program and environment that I have worked on, which is really convenient. And then recents. What is the most recent thing that I've worked on? Looks like I was in Cloud Manager and I worked on this pipeline execution and so on. My authoring, right? Instead of going to Cloud Manager and looking at a list of programs, I can see the ones that I have access to. I don't have to see the entire list. I can also pin the ones that are important to me, so I'll always see them at the top of my list. These are my programs. So if I am some kind of business owner or admin, I want to see a list of all my programs, I can look at it right here. The other nice thing is for every environment that I have access to, I have a quick entry point to the authoring, to the author instance, to experience fragments. These are just one click to get to the point so I can start the job that I'm interested in doing, which is really, really great. Not only that, I can go in here and I can customize these. I can manage the widgets here and I can say, I want to see this. I don't want to see this. And you can customize it based on what you want to see. Product announcements, right? There's, this is saying, if you want to try out AI, the assistant, try it out now. You can look at, there's something that's saying, hey, LLM optimizer, do you want to check it out? Try it out now. There's, the AI assistant, which is here, but in case you haven't seen it, it's also here, and so on. So anything that's new, these are the latest release notes and so on. So there's a lot of interesting information that you can get just right off the bat. Okay, so let's talk about the AI assistant. Here's the assistant. Yeah, it's going to ask me to log in. Let me quickly log in because I did lose connectivity for just a second. So let me get back in there. So let me show you, there's, product knowledge where you can just ask questions about, hey, what are the different types of environments that I have access to and so on. But I want to show you a sneak peek of, the 5 practitioner agents that I was talking about. So let's say I have this pipeline that has a failure and I am a developer. So I'm going to give you a demo of the developer agent, right? So I come here and I say, hey, I have a failed pipeline. I want you to help me troubleshoot. Oops, sorry, let me try it again. Can you troubleshoot this pipeline where I believe I have a failure? So the agent is looking at it and saying, oops, I'm in the wrong. Let me go into that. Give me a second here. I need to go program EDA, this one. So I need to be in the right context. Let me try this again. So it's looking at my program now that it has the right context. And then it's saying, okay, let's look at your pipelines. Which one has a 5? Now I did say it's this pipeline in this program. So I've tried to give it as much context as I want, but as we know, a pipeline can have multiple executions. So I expect it's going to come back and say, hey, can you confirm if this is the execution you want me to look at, which is a failed one? While it's doing that, there you go. So it found that execution and it's saying, there's an error. It's in the source code. Not only that, it's telling me which line it's in. Now, if I didn't have this agent, for those of you who've done this before, right, it's also telling me how to address it. How do I fix it? Here's the, what you remove or correct in the statement. And it's telling me what the next steps should be. Edit this, fix, do what I asked you to, commit those changes to Git and push them, and then rerun the pipeline. This is pretty amazing. If I didn't have this, what I would have had to do is I would have to download this log file. And then for those of you that are familiar with looking at these log files, it's going to look like this. And then you're going to look at errors and then go through. It's pretty verbose. So it's not, super easy or like fast to do. So this is really going to save you a lot of time. We also have things like date. We have this Experience Catalyst where change. I'm trying to look. Yeah. So let's say you're a content author and you want to make some changes. This is going to call the production agent. And here I'm saying, hey, I have this this page. I want you to change the background. I want you to background the hero to dark blue. I want you to make the text and button color contrast. And I want you to switch the image and the text position. So flip them, right? So this agent is saying it's understood what you're saying. It's saying, okay, I'll make those changes for you. It's thinking about it. And while it's doing that, I can start looking at what it's doing. While it's doing that, it's saying, okay, I've updated this. So let's look at it, right? It's saying dark blue, I'm going to do this. I've swapped the position and so on. The nice thing about it is if you go to your code changes, it'll highlight where these changes have been made right there. You don't have to look for it. It's very easy to see where the changes have been made. And this was originally where you started. This is where you end. And the nice thing is if you approve it, you can always go there and you can say, I want to push these changes, assuming you want to approve it. You can create a new PR, you can confirm it, and then it will push those to a new branch. So again, respecting that there's always a human in the loop. You want to approve it. You have the ability to do all those things. So, I'm going to pause here. And see, I'd love to get some, I'm going to stop sharing because this is the infinite loop. I know I shared a lot, but I do want to pause. I'm happy to go back and go over things that maybe you want to look at in greater detail, but would love feedback, questions, comments. And for the 5 agents that I talked about, the sneak peek, it truly is a sneak peek. We are going to announce that. And when we do, it'll open up for those of you that may be interested, as long as you are on cloud service and meet some criteria, early access as early beta or explorer customer. So you can engage, try these things out, give us a lot of feedback. Maybe you'll discover some bugs, right? So there's an option to engage very early as well.
Very cool. Well, one question did come in the chat was to share some of the links instead of the QR code. So I did put in the link that goes directly to the Adobe user group landing page, which will take you through all of the upcoming events that are available there. The one question, but the Experience Hub, in order to get to that, would users go to experience.adobe.com and that will take them to their main landing page?
Yes. That's a really good question. So there's a video that I share. I don't know if it's been shared already. Um, it's on Experience. I think you shared it in the document, Melanie, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
trying to get
That
the link to open.
also talks about how to access, but I'm happy to quickly share my screen again and show how users can access it. But they would you like me to do that? But you would essentially go to, here, let me share again.
Yeah, I'm putting the links to the Adobe Experience Hub in our chat,
Yeah.
and I have the
So you
link
would go
that.
to experience.adobe.com and then sorry, let me do this real quick. Yeah, once you're
There we
here,
go.
you would select, once you're on experience.adobe.com, you'd select Experience Manager, and that would just take you directly to Experience Hub. It should
Okay.
be super simple. And these are the quick action buttons. You can customize these as well. These are the widgets. You can customize the widgets by going to customize. And the great thing is the preset, the view I'm looking at is the content author. You can just flip. Like, I know many of you wear multiple hats. So if you need to flip between that and an admin, you can do that. So there's multiple ways to customize this. Or if you're an asset librarian, you can do this. So it'll just change the quick actions. It'll change some of the menu options on the left. So you can play around with this and see what really works for you.
Perfect. And as a asset librarian myself, I do find going to the digital asset librarian one under recents to seeing all those assets that were recently open has been very helpful.
That's fantastic. And, we're trying to add as much and more that we can to recents. And that's what I'd love to hear also from this audience. Um, just maybe a show of hands around how many of you have used Experience Hub, what you like about it. And if you've not used, what would drive adoption around that? What is it that's missing or that you'd really like to see that would make you start using it? And then any questions around the assistant and the agents that I gave you a preview around. And I shared a link to the YouTube video. That's from our dev live for those of you that maybe didn't get a chance to see it. I think at minute 33 or 34, I do a demo of, again, the developer agent, the production agent, and so on. So it gives you a preview of what's to come.
Oh, very cool. Unfortunately, we have a problem with the chat, so I'm not sure, David, if you can still see the chat. Are there any other questions in there or comments?
I can see the chat. No other questions, just some acknowledgements in there at the moment. So yeah, anyone with any questions?
Okay. I think there was one question. So as far as the
We
Experience
have
Hub,
got one. We have got one
yeah.
come through. Can you touch base the agents and their usage at a high level one more time, please? So it was more of a I think it's more a very high level use case for the agents, just as a review.
Yeah, I can go back. I just want to make sure that I understand the ask.
It's not super clear. We have got another one in there. Might be easier. So is having the Gen AI agreement signed the only prerequisite to the agents being activated in your?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and we get that a lot. The Gen AI writer has been something to date. What we're going to transition to is in the early part of 2026. We will launch a new SKU, and that will essentially cover all of the requirements. So when a customer purchases it, they will have to have signed all of the legal requirements, the writer, the terms, and so on. And so we're going to transition from having this Gen AI writer to having a more formal SKU. And the SKU will also make sure that when you've purchased it, it automatically provisions these agents, right, within your organization. So the answer to the question is the customers are going to have to, agree to certain terms in order for them to have access. That said, we are actively looking into ways where even if our customer hasn't explicitly signed those terms, they can still have free access to a limited access to the agents, so that if they haven't signed those terms, Adobe takes on the responsibility of making sure that any prompts that comes from a customer that hasn't signed those terms, we will not use it for any third party use. So we're just trying to kind of flip this thing around so that we still give you quick access to our agents with and still honor, in case for your organization or business, there are certain conditions that are important. So we're trying to take on the onus, the responsibility of honoring that. But that's yet to come. That's something we're working on. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, hopefully, Natalie, that answers the question, but if not, I'll post again. We've got another one around the governance agent now. So is that using the unified brand service that is the same as what's managed in Gen Studio, or is it a different service?
I'm not sure, but it does. I'm not sure if it's the same thing. I'm happy to get back to you. I imagine it would be the same thing. Yeah, let's get back to you on that, Raf.
Okay.
Good question.
And then I've just put a link to the AI Assistant Experience
Yeah.
Lead page as well in the chat for anyone who needs
Yeah,
it.
let me go back to the page. I think Gagandeep asked about going back and looking at the agents. Let me do that. So, oops, sorry. Yeah, so 5 agents. The first one, the production agent, is um, the agent that you would go to typically if you're a content author or someone who's creating content. And the example I showed you, you can give it instructions and say, hey, here's the page. I want you to update, this hero image, this color, the button or whatever. Or you can say, I want you to change the title. Right now it says, and again, that link, the YouTube link, there's a demo. So you can ask the agent to edit your page, your content, and then it'll generate a preview, and then you can approve it or not. That's the production agent. The discovery agent is around how accelerating, how quickly you can find the assets that you're interested in based on certain criteria. So I may come in and say, I am looking for assets that will fit this campaign, which is about a Black Friday coffee campaign. And so it's going to show me images of coffee mugs, whatever the case may be, and it's going to make sure that it surfaces the right search results based on what you have access to. So that's the discovery agent. The optimization agent, once you've discovered the assets that you're interested in, you're likely going to say, hey, I want something for an Instagram ad. I want something for TikTok, or I want something for my email campaign. Or you might be even more prescriptive and say, I want something that is this size, and be very specific about that. So it's going to help you generate the renditions that you want based on your objective. The governance agent, without getting too into the weeds, it's going to do things like um, if you know what your brand voice and tone and requirements are, you could say, hey, here's the URL of this page. I want you to go through the content of this page and tell me how it's doing against my brand, voice. So it will go through the content there and it'll come back and say, um, this is the score. It looks like you don't have enough empathy. It's too professional. You want to be more friendly. Whatever the case may be, it's going to tell you how to be more on point in terms of your brand. The other kinds of things the governance agent will do is you can say, can you tell me which of my assets are about to expire in the next 30 days? So it will tell you. So it's and then digital rights, DRM, it's going to tell you, the agent will help an admin create new permissions and say, I want to create a permission for this group. They should have access to these assets. I want you to create a new permission for them. So it'll also help with those types of things. So the governance agent has different skills that it's going to enable. And then the experienced developer agent, the first skill that we're going to start with is pipeline troubleshooting. Over time, we're going to add more skills. And this is going to be obviously relevant for developers, and the pipeline troubleshooting is going to be very instantly relevant to Cloud Manager and pipeline deployments. I hope that helped. I know there's a lot to kind of absorb here, but I'm happy to take more questions.
We do have somebody with their hand up. So if you'd like to come on to recording, more than happy to ask your question.
Hello, my name is Pushpa. Actually, I am wondering if there are any capabilities in the Experience Hub related to generating reports for business. For example, if there is a branding change happened and we have content pages with that branding name, but we want to replace that with another branding name. And business really asks for the reports, what are all the site pages we have having that name so that they can replace it. Just for reporting purpose, do we have any features within Experience Hub?
So that's a great question, Kamala, and that's something that would fall under the purview of the production agent, right? So from the assistant, our user would say, hey, I want to update this brand name. Maybe it's a content fragment or some kind of reusable module, and then you would engage with the assistant and instruct it to change it from what it is now to what you want it to be. So that's how I see the use case that you just described.
Yeah, that's correct, the use case. But before even we are utilizing that feature to update, we wanted to know how many pages are existing in the site. That way they can actually identify all the places, right, before even doing any updates.
Got it.
Yeah, end of auditing, exactly.
No, that's great feedback. I'll make sure that is. If you don't mind, Kamala, can you in chat, like maybe write down, if you had the ability, what would be the prompt to the agent that you would ask to get that response? I think if you can give me that would be a great starting point.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, right now actually the chat or direct message is not working. I created a support ticket through help. Probably once I get that, probably I can interact through chat.
Got it. It's a great
Thank you.
feedback. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. So I do know from a feedback perspective, I've been using the Experience Hub for all of our implementations just to take a look at, what are the recent assets. It is a great landing page to start use. So as we come over more use cases for it, just providing that feedback over. David, are there any other questions in the chat? Mine still saying it has a problem.
From Natalie around the SKU. So the question is, does a more formal SKU mean additional purchases? So the once the SKU is purchased, what that means is our customers will have access to any of the DX AP agents, right? So the AP agents are all of the ones that I just gave you a preview to, the existing ones if our customer has licenses to, say, CJA or the Data Insights agent and so on. So it's any of our apps, any of our agents on the Adobe Experience Platform, Agent Orchestrator. Um, the way the SKU will work is, and I'm sort of getting ahead of it, is it's by consumption of credits. So customer will have the option to purchase a certain number of credits, and there will be a clear articulation from Adobe on, how many credits are consumed based on the skill that the agent may be executing for you. So it'll be very similar to our experience generally with using a lot of these AI tools. You ask it to do something and it's consuming a certain number of credits. Now, what we are still figuring out is, will all our customers get some, free to use upfront, right? Before you start consuming the credits that you've purchased, those things are still being ironed out. But yes, the SKU does two things. It makes sure that everyone it signs the rider. And like I said, we're still trying to figure out, if you haven't signed the rider, then we can take on the responsibility of not using your prompts for third-party use. And that's something we're working on. And second, while you'll have the option to purchase, will all customers get some amount of free credits to start off with? Those are two things that we're still working through. All of you already have access to the product knowledge assistant, and it comes included. There's no cost for that. There's no purchase required. Same with currently the support agent. If you are a support admin, you can use that assistant and ask it to create a support ticket for you. You can come back and do case management and say, what's the status of this? Things like that. Right now, both those capabilities are included. And I would really encourage you to use them, because we've seen a tremendous adoption and engagement with these agents. The growth and adoption have been steep. And when we look at the kinds of questions our users are asking, it's really intentional, razor sharp focus on getting stuff done. I'm blown away by the nature of the questions. So yeah, if you haven't used it, and I'd love to hear actually from you, have you used these? If you have, what's your experience been? Because we've also really, really worked hard on improving the quality and coverage. And as we've gotten better, we're seeing the engagement and return engagement really shoot through the roof. Love to hear more from you about it.
It's got a question about writer, if there is a writer for each product, from Priya.
When you say writer, do you mean for tech docs? Can you clarify? I'm not sure I'm following if there's a writer for each. I'm not sure what writer legal. I'm not following the intention.
Hi Shankari, Priya this side. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I meant is like, I know like if we need to use AI assistant, there needs to be some like maybe that term is different which you use, but there needs to be some conversation that has to happen with the legal team of the organization who's using it for using that product, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I mentioned it as writer. So as far as I know, like we have the Adobe Firefly services which have this enabled as part of like working with our legal team and all. So is it the same or is it different we need to again have if we need to leverage AI assistant?
We've consolidated that. There's only one Gen AI writer across the board for a customer to have to review and sign in order to use any of our AP agents. So it should just be one. And and that's a good question. I understand what you're saying. We want to simplify and make it easier for our customers.
Yep. Thank you, Shankari.
I'd love to hear also additional feedback. Those of you who've used the assistant, who've used, and if you haven't used it, I'm very curious to know why. Is it that you haven't heard about it? Is it that you didn't discover it? I really want to understand, how do we drive discoverability, the value, and the adoption?
Anything in the chat?
No, nothing in the chat.
Yeah.
No,
I think this
nothing.
just might be new, or organizations are still
Mhm.
working through legal for,
Mhm.
getting their AI signed off to be able to utilize it.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. And if you're new to this and you're interested, if you know who your CSM or TAM is, you just need to tell them, hey, can you share the Gen AI writer with my organization? And you can give them the email of the legal person or yourself. And what will happen is, in your inbox, you'll get something, and you'll have the ability to delegate that to someone else in your organization. Like if you feel like, I don't know if I can sign a Gen AI writer, you can then delegate it to the legal representative and have them take care of it for you. So if you're interested to kick this off today, all you have to do is talk to your CSM or TAM, and then get that going.
Very cool. Any more questions in the chat?
I'd love to hear also on Experience Hub, especially since, if I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of asset librarians here. I'd love to hear. So, and I'm going to share my screen again. So one of the things I showed you here was this, right? Now, the thing that we want to do is we want to remove this, right? It kind of doesn't make sense because Experience Hub is going to be the single entry point for everything. I'd love to understand from those who are primarily asset librarians or asset users, do you use this today? If we removed it and it gets subsumed into this experience, what would it mean to you? Is that a better thing? Do you not use Experience Manager assets at all? I'd love to get some feedback on that.
So from my perspective, if users go to the Experience Manager, the Experience Hub link, if they have a sites instance, they would click on Experience Manager. If they wanted to look at the full enterprise DAM, they would click on Experience Manager Assets, depending on what they own. Assets resonates to our digital asset librarians, so that's why they actually click on that particular link. But that's from just experience of from my end.
So if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is, if you come here, you would still select this depending on your
Correct.
but if in the future, if tomorrow this went away, you came in here, right?
That would be fine, as long as the content on that page is relevant to a digital asset librarian, which I think you can get from changing the persona up in the top corner.
Yeah.
So if I clicked on, an asset librarian, I would like to see everything that's relative to my assets. What are the recent assets that I've opened? Any dashboards that you could provide on reporting? I think that was one of our examples from earlier. How are my assets performing? What's about to expire? Something that's relative to how I work with assets.
Got it. And if you clicked assets, before we build out
Yeah,
my
there's the My Workspace here, which I know
yeah,
is great, does take us to assets, and
yeah,
then Workspace takes you to where you can find the reporting.
yeah.
I find that helpful. I just think extending that to assets that are about to expire, it's a very useful dashboard based
Okay,
on what's going on with the assets in my system.
got it. Okay, thank you. Any other feedback?
We've got a couple of posts in the chat. Don't have experience of Experience Manager assets. Tend to do everything through Experience Manager. More like sites. Honestly, there's so many more little blips of experiences for assets that I don't know. So yeah, someone who's new to it. So I think obviously good to give them an overview here. Happy to share some feedback. They use Sandbox. So RAF is using it more with media library provisioning, as well as Gen Studio, depending on what's been there. Good way to navigate all environments. Removing the assets option might make it a little more difficult. Happy to walk through some scenarios with you.
Yeah, I'd love to take up, Raf, your feedback on that. Maybe we can follow up. Melanie, maybe I can figure out how to reach out to Raf offline.
Okay.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Perfect. Any other feedback from our teams?
Yeah, so just a quick comment about they only have assets license. So in that case, it makes sense to retain assets still in there. So yeah, if they're only licensed to AEM assets, does that make a difference from Priya?
When you say retain assets still in there, you mean as an explicit link?
No. So my comment was like you were figuring out like both should it stay or it's just a one that has to stay. If you're taking out assets, so for in a perspective of an EM assets customer, right? Like when we click on it, we are directly going into the DAM, whatever that
Yeah,
instead
yeah,
of going to sites and then
yeah.
navigating. So maybe there needs to be some kind of personalized effect there. If the license is like assets, they
Got
directly
it.
land in there, and
Yeah,
then if they
yeah,
have both, maybe it makes sense to just have one.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. No, that's makes sense.
All right.
Nothing else in the chat, Mel.
All right.
Okay. Super.
Perfect. Well, I know we had a couple hiccups with some presentations as well as with the chat. So little technical difficulties in getting through today's call, but thank you so much for attending and going over both the Experience Hub and the AI Assistant, some of the new features that we're seeing with AEM, and the details of what's coming with some of the AI agents. So this will wrap up today's user group call. As always, we are going to look into what we're going to present for next year, going into the sessions. So definitely, if you have an idea or any questions, definitely reach out and share with us. Here is, again, I know QR codes, but our LinkedIn post to both myself and David's page. And we're going to take a look at a lot of the content that we learned in our last kickoff meeting, some on governance, the new features, getting into some of the photography assets and digital rights management for one of our next sessions. So we will reach out and post when we're ready to schedule that meeting. Most likely we'll be in February, so watch in January for our next call. But wanted to say thank you so much to the community for attending today's call. I really appreciate it. Thanks again to our guest speakers and for all the assistance with the back end. And I think we're all set to wrap up.
Perfect. Thank you all.
Perfect. All right. Thanks, everybody. And thank you so much for
Thank
attending.
you. Take care. Have a great day.
Take care.
Bye.